Over under 10 bangs tonight. Or a largest lead of the night. We got the finals, part 4. Let's do this. Also,
Whoa.
the sing.
Not bang.
Let's go around the horn.
Oh, look at the paddle. What great
Is that the only word they teach you at Fordham? Bang. How about good?
It works, baby.
It's Around the Horn, the show of competitive banter. Here's Tony Reale.
All right, I got a bone to pick with you people. Good for the NBA, bad for the NBA, bad for the NBA, good for the NBA. Why do you people think people care about leagues and if something is not to their liking or not? I don't even get this. Aren't you more worried about what's good for you on your couch at home and it's fun to watch? Warriors Cavaliers Part 4, the first back-to-back championship in American sports history. Tim, answer if this is good or bad for the league, because I know you want to, and then tell us if it's good or bad for us, real people watching at home.
It is bad temporarily for us and the people and the NBA. I mean, the saying, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. We know what we've got. We've seen this year after year after year after year now, and we especially know what it's going to be like this year. It would have been good for change, but maybe only for this. If it was Golden State Boston, it's not like that would have been a highly competitive series. Sorry, Jackie. So if that was over in 4 games, everybody would be going, well, man, I wish we had LeBron James back. If Golden State wasn't here, people might be clamoring for that. So maybe we would miss them. But as it stands, we've seen this so much, it just seems like we need something new.
We've seen Tim Kalisha so much.
Way too much.
Was his argument convincing at all, Sarah Spade?
I did not find it convincing at all. The reason that we say what's good or bad for the NBA is because we're not going to write a column saying, I personally am sick of this, right? We have to make it about something larger than our own opinions. And the truth is, when you add all of our own personal opinions up, it can be bad for a league when a bunch of fans are apathetic because those teams are also a little bit apathetic. This is a Warriors team we've already seen at its greatest point, and now we've seen it maybe be kind of coasting a little bit at times to get here again. This is a LeBron-led Cavs team that we've also seen documented coasting and not being able to give full effort all the time. So these are two teams that they themselves are almost over the redundancy of the matchup. So expecting us to care as much as we have before is a little bit absurd.
How are you gauging this apathy among fans? Is it by TV ratings? I don't think it is, because the ratings have been pretty solid, Sarah.
Great. Yeah, the ratings, I think, are about a number of things. One is obviously what Tim said. It's a great team and it's a great player. So people are going to watch regardless. But I think people are going to watch the NBA Finals no matter who's in it. If it was two new teams and there was a different story, I think even more would.
Let's bring in Frank Isola.
I did really appreciate when LeBron was asked that same question at the podium, as if he's supposed to say, you know what, I apologize for being so great and trying so hard in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, both of these teams, they earned their way to the final. They were both down 3-2 in this series. They had to win a Game 7 on the road. They were down double digits on the road in a Game 7. Sarah said it, best team, best player, a lot at stake. How can this be bad? And Tim brought up Houston and Boston. Yeah, that would be fine, but Chris Paul, maybe not available. We know Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward would not have been available. But at least here, we're getting most of the players healthy and ready to go.
Jackie Mack.
I never understand this. I really don't, because really, Houston was one Chris Paul hamstring away from being in the finals. I believe that. I believed it then, and I believe it now. Boston, no. They had their opportunity, and they blew it, although I would point out, Tim, that at least they were in the playoffs as opposed to your team and your city. But that's a story for another day. I think this is great for the NBA for a whole bunch of reasons, starting with, we're talking about Steph Curry and Kevin Durant and some of the biggest players in the game. We've already talked about LeBron ad nauseum, and we should, because he's doing things that are historic. The way the Golden State Warriors play to me is so interesting because they haven't been playing that way, Tony. They won playing iso ball. I still can't believe they were able to win playing that way. So there's so much more here, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of storylines. Bring it all on. I'm ready for it.
I think if you look at their last 16 quarters, the Warriors, there's about 6 of them where they look like they completely forgot how to play basketball.
You bet.
Real quick, there's a conversation out there, you could choose to have it or not, about this being the best rivalry in American sports because it's been going on for 4 years in a championship round. Do you buy that, Jackie?
To some degree, I do, because every year has been different. There were injuries. There was the Draymond Green suspension. There was the Kyrie Irving injury. I think just one of these years it would have been great to see Cleveland at their best and the Golden State Warriors at their best, which we still haven't seen.
We still haven't got that.
And we may never see it. We may never see it.
No, I mean, you know, Auburn, Alabama, Duke, North Carolina, Yankees, Red Sox. It's been a great rivalry, but it's not the all-time great American rivalry. I'm not buying that one.
Let's get into the meat of this now. The Warriors, the biggest favorite in 16 years. Kevin Love cleared, available, passed his concussion test for today. So he'll be on the floor for Cleveland. How can the Cavs make this a series? What's their path to victory? Sarah Spain, can you start us off?
Well, Kevin Love certainly helps because he averaged 24 and 12 in the 2 regular season games against the Warriors, and he's the only guy who's been able to be consistently putting up double-doubles for the Cavs throughout this run. Unfortunately, you never know who else is going to be the guy that steps up, and sometimes it isn't anyone. Can you depend on J.R. Smith? Not really. Can you depend on Jeff Green? Well, absolutely. He changes things a bit with his body, his size, can clog things up in the paint. He helps out defensively, but he's still unreliable. So what you're left with is LeBron needs to do something he never does, which is go off big in game 1 of a series. That's not usually their style. He sits back, he facilitates, and he tries to read things. I don't think they can do that. They've got to be more physical, and their shots have to go down early because what we've seen from this Cavs team is when they don't hit their shots, they pout, and it takes them out of other parts of the game. It takes them out defensively. It takes them out off ball screens. It takes them out of doing the fundamentals. They need to be hot. They need to be physical, and they need to do it all early, or else they're going to be so wiped out it's going to be over.
Frank Isola, same question to you.
They got to compete at the defensive end the way the Houston Rockets did. Houston did a terrific job. They just couldn't knock down shots. Let's assume it goes 7 games. That's the only way the Cavs are going to win, 6 or 7. LeBron, you figure, will give you 5 A+ games. You need somebody else like they got in Game 7 up in Boston where the other 4 starters scored 47 points. So Jeff Green, Kevin Love, who is going to start tonight, they need to have big moments. Same thing with Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith. As always with the Cavs, it's that supporting cast.
But are you speaking on the offensive end or on the defensive end?
Both sides. And that's what it still concerns me. I just don't think they have P.J. Tucker, Trevor Ariza, Clint Capella type guys on the defensive end to shut down Golden State.
Jackie Mack, do you see a path to victory for Cleveland here?
It's a long shot. I think we all know that. But, Frank, the one thing that impressed me about Cleveland in that Boston series was the way they mucked it up defensively.
Yeah.
They really did. They really were really fantastic, especially in the last 2 games defensively. I didn't think they were capable of doing that. They showed me they could when they went bid with Tristan Thompson. I think Korver's going to have a big series. And I think Kevin Love, if you care to use him, well, why don't you run some stuff for him? Get him involved early. Get him shots early. I think that would benefit the Cleveland Cavaliers if they decide to do that.
Tim, let me ask you this. Is it possible the Warriors miss Iguodala more this series than they did last, or at least for, we know, maybe Game 1 they're missing him?
Oh, I definitely think they do. I think there's different ways they could go at covering Harden, but Iguodala has covered LeBron the most these other 3 finals, so much so that the Warrior who's covered him the next highest number of plays is Harrison Barnes. So not available, by the way.
He won't be available in the postseason.
He plays for my
team. You got him, Tim. Right, you got Tim.
Okay, and he's off for now. He's resting, as we say.
Play Thompson. Play Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be an issue, and the Warriors' general kind of indifference in the first half is an issue. And I would also say, like 9 years ago, you watched Oklahoma City, and they weren't any good, but everybody said they're going to be great. They've got a young Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and Jeff Green. Okay, 2 of those guys went on to be MVPs. The other guy didn't, but the other guy was really good in Game 7, and he's going to play a lot.
Do you think that might
I'm not
be
even
the
sure
path
they can
to
play
victory?
Tristan Thompson in this series.
Jeff Green. Frank, you want to answer the Iguodala bit? Could it possibly be more important for the Warriors to get Iguodala on the court in this series than maybe it was in last?
I absolutely think it's huge. You know, he did win the Finals MVP a couple of years ago. He's 3rd on the team in plus minus. And if you talk to people with the Warriors, remember Steve Kerr said he's like having the adult out there on the court. He keeps Kevin Durant happy because he's a ball mover. He moves without the ball. He seems to make the right plays that keep Kevin Durant even more engaged. And as we know, he's a 2-way player. He could, offensively, he's good. Defensively, he can shut you down.
All right, some other things in play in these finals. We call this the Showdown edition, the Legacy edition of Showdown. So just give me 7 seconds or less. If the Warriors win at 3rd and 4, how does it elevate them, Jackie McMullen?
Well, we're in the age of small ball. They become the small ball kings. They become the new wave way to play, and they do it better than anybody.
Tim Calishow?
Hardest champions ever to defend because you have to defend them for about 35 feet from the basket.
Hardest champions ever to defend. All right, that wasn't a metric I was aware of, but now that you mentioned it, Sarah Spain.
The new metric will be the still not as appreciated as they should be now because their dominance is sort of boring us at this point, but years from now looked back upon as one of the best dynasties ever.
You guys are getting very semantic about this. Are they as good as the Celtics in the 80s, the Lakers in the 80s, the Bulls in the 90s? Frank,
please. As good compared to their current contemporaries, or as good if you changed the rules and they all grew up at the same time and had the same workouts? That's why these questions are hard to answer.
I don't care if they're hard to answer. You're not in the mood. You get in the mood. Go ahead, Isola.
Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. To me, they win. They're one Draymond Green suspension away from having won 4 in a row. This puts them up there with the greatest of all time.
If LeBron wins 4 of 9, what does it mean? If he gets swept and it's 3 of 9, what does it mean? Tim, can you start us off there?
If he gets swept, it doesn't really matter. He's still the biggest story in the NBA, and I'm sure he'll average 30 points a game. If he wins this series and wins 4 of 9, should I say I'll buy Around the Horn T-shirts for everybody watching today? Is that what you're looking for here, Tony? I'll do it. Go ahead.
All right, I'm here for this.
Whoa.
Sarah Spain, is that a question you can answer?
Yes, perhaps for the first time in his career, even if he gets swept, the people who naysay him will say it doesn't matter. He's done incredible, unbelievable things, because it's not going to be about how many finals he's lost when he's doing it with this cast. If he wins, I'll buy the pants to go with the shirts. Do we have pants?
3 and 6 in finals. Should he lose, Isola, would that do anything for you? Should he get swept, would that do anything for you?
You know, to me, you're getting to a finals, and to do it 8 straight times. By the way, tonight, he's going to be, or the Cavs are going to be a 13-point underdog. LeBron has never been that big of an underdog in a game, so it's funny thinking of Superman as an underdog. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of player.
Last question.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, go ahead, Jackie.
I just thought maybe I could join. But I really think the most important thing here for LeBron is he can't lose, Tony. If they lose, everybody expected it. If he wins, all it does is heighten his legend even further. He's in a no-lose situation.
All right. Steph Curry, last question. The finals where he maybe, you know, shows he's an MVP in the finals. We haven't seen that from him yet. League MVP, but not finals MVP. Would you think of him differently should that happen, Jackie?
I don't think of him differently at all. He was the MVP of the Western Conference Finals. They should be glad they got him here. I don't think it changes his legacy one bit.
It was great. He was asked about it yesterday. You know, hey, Steph, we in the media, we're going to kill you if you're a selfish player. Let me ask you about an individual award you haven't won yet. Come on, Steph Curry, to me, should have been the MVP 3 years ago. I'm not worried about Steph Curry being MVP. Great player.
Exactly. For anyone having to do anything with the Warriors, he's already the MVP because he welcomed in Durant. He doesn't care what his legacy is. It's about winning now and winning with the team, and that makes him the biggest MVP.
Curry as the MVP is the most entertaining series all of us can hope for.
All right, most entertaining thing for me would be if Kalishaw loses his bet and has to buy everybody Around the Horn T-shirts and Sarah Spain Around the Horn pants.
You know where I live.
Right here. We're going to talk about Brady Holtby and the save of the series, of the season, of the franchise.
Sarah Spain, voice of reason. Who would have thought?
Thank you.
It's hard, though. It's hard to be a voice.
Around the Horn is brought to you by Wendy's Baconator. Swing by Wendy's today and Baconate with the Baconator.
The save. There are people today, maybe people on this panel, who are going the other way, saying it was good but not so good. It blew it, that it looked better full speed than in slow-mo. Yeah, in slow-mo it looked like he had more time. The Washington Post publishes every photo of it. Do you know what every photo of it is? It's video. Fill in the blank, Tim. That Holtby save was blank.
It was mind-blowing. We'll find out later if it's going to be series-changing. I've heard people say Tuck should have lifted the puck more. All you tell players there is just get your stick on the puck. Nobody expects a goalie to stop it with this much of a stick blade, and it was off the ice. It was an incredible play.
Sarah Spain?
It was a little help from the hockey gods, and it was deserved, because if you're going to beat a team that hasn't lost in regulation at home since March 28th, and you're going to beat a team that didn't score on a 5-on-3, which one famous hockey coach, Joel Quenneville, says if you don't score on a 5-on-3, you don't deserve to win the game. So the hockey gods shine down on him.
Frank Isola.
They talked about on the broadcast, the puck was supposed to go around the boards like a little ball in the roulette wheel. It took a bad bounce, so the Capitals were actually unlucky there. Then got lucky on the shot. Great save by Holtby. Tuck put the puck on net. That's what he's supposed to do. It's just a great save. Maybe a series-changing save.
Everybody's giving me maybe a series-changing. Jackie Mack, do you dare go bigger than that?
I'm not going to offer free T-shirts, but I'll say it's a game-saving save here because those.
Well, we know it's a game-saving save. I mean, series-changing, Stanley Cup-winning, franchise-changing.
Okay, I'll give it all to you. Saving, Stanley Cup winning. It's all downhill from here. Of course, they're going to win it all because of this one save. I mean, really, what do you want from me? What a bunch of nonsense. But it's an unbelievable save. That's what it is. It's an unbelievable save. And sometimes it makes a goalie think, you know what? The hockey gods are on my side. I'm rolling now. That I'll give you.
All right.
That's all.
Reviews for the hockey gods from the two people who said that. Can you tell who the better team is yet? Kalishaw after 2 games?
I would lean this toward Washington if I knew that Kuznetsov was going to keep playing, but on the chance he may have something like a broken wrist or something that's going to keep him out, I've got to call it even.
Spain?
Oh, hold on. The hockey gods are telling me. They're telling me it's too close to call, but Kuznetsov injury could change things for the worse for the Caps.
Isola.
Tim is like the Don Cherry of this show. He called the 1-1 series even. I like that. The big change here was a 5-on-3 with 69 seconds, or 4 seconds, and the Caps held on. They got the lead in the third period, hung on for the win. Huge.
I like the vibe of the Caps, and it's got nothing to do with the hockey guys. I just like the vibe of the fact that this goaltender made this great save, and they're on their way. I like the Caps. I'm going to say they're going to win the series. How does that make you feel? Better? Yeah?
Well, you just said you weren't going to do that because the save, and now you just did it, Jackie. All right, fine.
I want to make you happy.
Vegas pregame. Still bringing it for everybody, or is it jump the shark? Sarah, you want to start there?
Yeah, it's absolutely still bring it. And here's why. Because everyone's like, it's too much. You don't need the magicians and the Imagine Dragons and the Knights and everything. But they don't have anything else to bring us because there's no history there. When you go to a playoff game for a team that's been around forever, you see highlights of all the great players that came before and all the great wins that came before. All they got is Chris Angel, Mind Freak, and a bunch of dudes dressed like medieval times. And I say own it and keep bringing it.
Gallus show, you're shaking your head no.
Drop the puck. Let the game speak for itself. We don't need all this nonsense. We don't need all this.
And last thing, Holtby neckbeard. I know you're not calling it a life-affirming save, but is this fair or foul to go with the neckbeard like that, Isola?
It looks like a bird's nest. You know what? It's the playoffs. It looks fine. He'll have all
Jackie
summer
Mack,
shade.
can you make a view of that from your seat?
I think it's a series-winning beard. Tony.
There we go, Jackie Mack. We'll move on. Buy or sell, too. 6 innings of no-hit baseball after nearly 2 years out of the game because of your second Tommy John surgery. That's what Nathan Eovaldi did last night. However, Dallas Braden of the A's telecast saw something in the way he moved.
Check out a look at that thumb from Eovaldi. I don't see a headlamp on him. What's he digging for, boys? There's a good chance there's a sticky substance on the inside of that glove, maybe of pine.
Don't want to lose you now, Sarah Spain, but what did you see last night?
I'm not going to claim to know what he was digging for, but I did read an article that pointed out that he didn't shake his manager's hand as some sort of clue as to what he had on his hand. He did that because he was throwing a no-hitter and he got pulled in the 6th. That's it.
Frank Isola?
Dallas Braden is definitely onto something. But you know what? Go ask Johan Santana about staying in a game to throw a no-hitter. They did the right thing taking him out there. It's about the long term, not just one game.
Jackie Mack, come on.
Yeah, but as someone who was around Clay Buchholz a little bit, this looked eerily familiar. But who wants to take away from this young kid and the fact this is a kid that had Tommy John had an elbow surgery in high school, Tony. This poor kid, he's had so many arm problems. Just let him enjoy his almost no-hitter.
And Tip Kalisha.
Can't we just enjoy the fact the baseball gods finally smiled on this troubled young man and gave him a chance to throw some quality innings and get 6 no-hit innings out there?
Oh, boy.
Not great on that guy.
Man, you guys have never found a cliche you don't like using. Kalisha, Spain, early doors. We got Isola, McMullen. Showdown next.